True or false? You can still work with a 100% VA disability rating. What's up, fellow vets? Clay Houston here, former Black Hawk pilot in the U.S. Army Reserve, and now I'm making YouTube videos so you fine folks can get the VA disability benefits that you deserve. And I wish that question was as simple as a true or false, but unfortunately, like many things when it comes to the VA, it just depends. It's not so black and white. To be more specific, it depends on what type of 100% rating that you have. And there are three ways that you can get a 100% rating. Number one, you can get it through a scheduler rating. So if you have a 100% scheduler rating, it means that your disability meets the criteria for 100%. It means that the VA has decided that your symptoms are severe enough that you deserve a 100% rating and the compensation that goes with it. Now, you can get this through multiple disabilities with a combined rating, or it can come from one disability. Number two, which is just slightly different, you can get a 100% permanent and total rating. Now, the only difference between this and number one is that with a P&T rating, the VA has determined that your disability is unlikely to ever improve. And number three, and this one's a little unique, you could get total disability based on individual unemployability, otherwise known as TDIU. And with TDIU, you can be compensated at the 100% rating level even if your disability doesn't meet the 100% rating criteria. And this is because TDIU is meant to help veterans who can't work because of a service-connected disability, or at least can't maintain what's called substantially gainful employment, which we're going to get to in a minute. So for example, if you were a career truck driver, and that's the only job you can do, it's the only job you're qualified for, you don't have any other way to make a living, but you have a service-connected disability that keeps you from sitting for long periods of time, well, if you can't sit, you can't drive a truck, and so that person would be unable to support themselves. And in that instance, they could get a TDIU rating, even if the disability that keeps them from sitting is only rated at 60%. With TDIU, they could be compensated at the 100% level. All right, now there are no restrictions on number one and number two. You can work 0 hours a week or 80 hours a week. If you're 100% from scheduler rating or you're 100% P&T, the VA doesn't care how much you work. But if you have TDIU, you can only work what's called marginally gainful employment. Now, marginally gainful employment is simply anything that doesn't meet the definition of substantially gainful employment. Now, that's the word that I mentioned earlier that I said we get into. Substantially gainful employment is just a fancy term for a job that is both competitive and pays above the federal poverty threshold for one person. And it has to be both of those things. So you can do a Google search to find your poverty line. It can be a little complicated to figure out, so if you really need to, I would suggest consulting a tax professional. But for a job to be competitive, it can't be in what the VA considers a protected work environment. In other words, it can't be guaranteed. A family business is a good example of what the VA considers a protected work environment. If you're employed by your family's business, you probably can't get fired, which means the job is pretty much guaranteed and therefore not competitive in the eyes of the VA. And a protected work environment also means that you're treated differently than other employees but receive the same pay and benefits. So for example, you might be excused from certain parts of your job requirements, or you might be less productive than other employees without any consequences, or you could be given a pass for certain behavioral issues. And marginally gainful employment could be many things, but it's usually kind of associated with like part-time or odd jobs. For example, you could mow yards on the weekend, or you could stock shelves on a seasonal basis, or if you make a living online, or you can do online work, you could do some freelance work here and there. As long as the job doesn't meet both parts of the definition for substantially gainful employment, then you're able to work that job while having a TDIU rating. All right, that's all I got for you guys on this video. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that YouTube will let you know whenever we post another video. And if you follow the link in the description to our blog, give us your email while we're there and we'll email you a few free resources. All right, guys, peace.